There aren't many who know the tale of Forgotten Hollow, but the story begins with Linus Stroud. His ever-growing desire for power led him on a journey. He had heard a rumor that a strange fruit grew on a land where darkness replaces the light, that this fruit could turn anyone immortal, or so he said. So Vlad left his home in search of this fruit. His search led him to a place that would become known as Forgotten Hollow, a sleepy little town where fog keeps its residents cloaked in darkness. Vlad had finally found what he'd been looking for. With one bite, this fruit had turned into morning, but it came with a cost. He could no longer stand in the sunlight, and food no longer satiated his hunger. He realized then that plasma was what he craved. That first plasma fruit had turned him into a vampire, but there was only one of that kind. Over the years, Vlad tried with all his might to reproduce that same plasma fruit. He did, however, come up with a new recipe, one that would create another kind of plasma fruit, one that could only quench his thirst. As he was power-hungry, he craved more, and over time, his obsession and loneliness turned him mad. He began to lure others to Forgotten Hollow, and began to create the perfect immortal family. He didn't change everyone, however. He only selected a few who also rejected him and would blindly follow him. During his solitude, he learned all he could about his new powers, and so he trained those precious few whom he deemed worthy. One follower, who was Vlad's second in command, Thomas Melville. Thomas Melville and his two daughters came to Forgotten Hollow in the hopes of a fresh start. Melville was immediately seduced by the idea, for his wife had died in a tragic accident not long before. He never wanted to go through that kind of pain again, and it was because of that he turned his two daughters into vampires as well. Over the centuries, Melville began to distrust Vlad's motives. Vlad had begun to use humans as slaves. Like he was coming out of a trance, Melville realized he had lost a sense of his morals and knew what needed to be done. In secret, he began to recruit his own followers. These followers, however, wished to preserve humanity, to never feed on human sin. Learning of Thomas's treachery, Vlad went into a blind rage and killed Thomas and as many of his followers as he could. Believing he had won, Vlad went back home and declared himself the leader of all Forgotten Hollow. He built a statue of himself in the middle of town square so everyone can see and be reminded of that day. Yet in the chaos, Thomas's daughters, Sylvia and Eleanora, managed to escape. They went back to their home at Melville Manor and created their own coven of followers, a coven that followed the beliefs of their father, Thomas Melville, that humanity needs to be preserved and protected. Because of this, Eleanor created one other rule, that no vampire could choose a human as their mate, for it was far too dangerous. Enough blood had been spilled. It was there that they would stay, biding their time in the hopes that someday they can overtake Vlad's reign. So now you know the legend of Forgotten Hollow, but what of its residents now?